This is John Blansett. I'm going to be doing the Hangman program here. All right, so we'll start with our isWordGuessed function. What letters have been guessed so far? Oh, so we're basically just testing to see if the secret word is passing us the secret word and the letters guessed, and we're testing to see if the letters guessed are in the secret word. Okay, well, cool. So this is going to require an iterative loop. All right, so we're testing all the letters in secret word to see if any of the letters match, the letters guessed match the secret word. So we're going to actually say if it's not in the letters guessed. Then we're going to return false. Otherwise, we'll just return that it is, so that it's, otherwise it's true. Java habits die hard. Is guess word, give all letters. Hang on, let's work on the guessed word. What letters in the secret word have been guessed so far? All right, so in the get guessed word function here, we're gonna create a variable, guessed word. We're gonna assign it to an empty. From here, we're gonna have to go through the letters guessed list that we established, or that we passed as a parameter, I'm sorry. And we're gonna go through and put it out as output for the user so they can see where they are in the game. So if the letter is in the secret word, then we're actually going to add it and display it for the user so they can see it. And if it's not, we're just going to put an underscore in a space so that it looks like a blank letter waiting to be filled. I planned on using just a standard variable with a string variable with all the alphabet in it. But instead, I'm going to use this module, the string module from Python libraries or standard library. That way I can just use the constant ASCII lowercase letter set instead of creating a new variable. And then we'll return the available letters, which is basically the lowercase alphabet. So up here we're going to import the string so that we can actually get those. Okay. ahead of myself. First, we'll have to set up basically an available letters. So we can have an empty container for this. And then we're going to cycle through the ASCII characters and store all of them in our available letters variable. So we'll have to call the string object and the ASCII to, we want them all to be lowercase, so case. So we'll ask it to send us all the lowercase letters. And then if the letter is not in the letters guessed, I'm sorry, if the letter is in the letters guessed. So we want to add this. Colon, baby. So if the letter isn't in the letters guessed, then we want to keep that in the pool. So we'll add and then we're going to return the available. Okay, now for the fun part. Tying all this together. So if we go, gotcha. So start the game, let the user know. Ask the user to supply one guess. So this is one of those situations where we don't know how long. There's a list of words that I have is just a bunch of fruits and fruits basically, and so when I put my letters in, we're not going to know because they're not all the same size words, so we don't know how long exactly this is going to be iterating through. So since we don't know, we'll have to use a while loop. Let's see. So basically, while the game is not over. Then we're going to have to use, since our threshold is going to be 8, we'll have to make our first test to see if the mistakes made exceeds the max guesses. So we'll do just a quick comparison here. Okay, so in our first test, we're actually going to check. There's two things we need to check. One is that we haven't exceeded the allowable max guesses by mistakes made. And two, we need to check to see if the word has been guessed. So we'll call the is word guessed and pass it the secret word and the list of letters guessed, and just to see if it has been guessed yet. I'll let speech about how long we're going to do this. So, all right. So at this point, we're going to want to display to the user their guesses. So you have let's see. So we'll just subtract the max guesses from the mistakes made. And that'll tell him, or that will tell them their number of guesses left. And also, so we want to print the available letters as well. And we'll just make a call to the get available letters. All right, now we're going to prompt, since we've told them basically what they're, where they stand in the game right off the bat, and then we're going to tell them the letters that are available for them to choose from. We need to prompt them to enter a letter. So we'll use the input statement. Please enter a letter. And we actually want to convert this to lowercase. So we have a kind of a standard transition. That way we won't have to do anything to the letter. We can just use it as soon as we grab it. And then so after they input it, we definitely want to check to see if the letter they have input has been used. So we're gonna check to see if what they just input to see if it's been used prior. So basically, if the guess is within the letters guessed. Then we want to let the user know that there was just a simple mistake. Oops. inform the player that they've made an error, or not an error, but they've entered the same choice, we actually need to give them the state of the word. So what we'll do is we'll call the get the guest. And it'll give them the state of the word. So we'll have to pass it. All right, now the first thing we want to test after this is see if they actually got it right. So we'll put an else if statement in here, an elif. So if it is in our secret word, and print, we'll let the user know. We'll also want to call and now we'll check to see if the guess is incorrect. And this will be all right. Now, in order to add all of our letters together into one pool, we had to create a list, which is basically what we did right here with our letters guessed list. So what we'll do is we're going to add the guess to this letters guessed. We also want to increment the mistakes. And give the error, or give the user some error feedback, and let them know that that was an incorrect guess. So print and again we'll pass the state of the word to the user. It's always good to let them know what's going on. So with that, we'll make a call to our get guessed word. We'll pass it the secret word and letters guessed, basically what we've done up here. So I should have just copied and pasted that, but there we go. And since this is just rudimentary user input, I'm going to put something in between the. I'm going to put something in here so that we can delineate between the rounds of characters that are entered. Just a little dash so that you can see the difference. And lastly, we need to check to see if the user is one, but we need to do this outside the loop. So we'll make a call to the isWordGuessed function again. We're going to pass it the secret word and the letters guessed. When we call this isWordGuessed, it's going to give us a true or false value. And depending on if he's one or not, or the player is one or not. So if the word is guessed, which if it's true, and the player has one, course, we want to tell them what the word was. So. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I have my own file here. I'm just going to, well, it's not a file, it's just a list. And I'm going to use it instead of word list. So that's my word list. Fingers crossed. All right, looks like it loaded my words. Now let's try to run this bad boy. Oh, I like that. So I'm just trying to format this data. OCD, man, it drives me crazy when it looks like that. It appears to work. All right, as is so often is the case, as I was editing my video, I noticed that the output wasn't exactly as I wanted it. When we look down here at what we put out, it doesn't put the letter out. So that doesn't jive with me, one. And two, I had a ton of spelling errors, so I'll go back through and correct some of these. What I noticed is that it didn't, both of these were supposed to add to the letters guessed. Is that way you could tell what the user was supposed to see or what the player was supposed to see. But for some reason, I neglected to put it in the letters guessed correctly. Branch. Is getting, that's got to be the last check here.
That's what it's guessed.
Now I think it works. I had those mixed up. Oh, that's a rookie mistake. All right, there we go.